session now. All right, hi everyone to everyone tuning into this video today. My name is Jess from Hello Future. We're a programme that works across Cumbria with the main aim of trying to get different people into higher education, and we're really happy for you to join us today. We're going to be having our first Spotlight On series, so a Spotlight on Business Studies, and we have Faith and Josh from Edge Hill with us today, and they're going to share a little bit about the university, about experiences studying. If you do have any questions after this video or after this session, you can head to the Hello Future website where you can chat to any member of the Hello Future team, and I'm sure we've got some links for Edge Hill, which I'll also put in the YouTube description of this video. But Josh, shall I hand over to you? Do you want to give a little introduction to the university?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Jess. Hello, everyone. My name's Josh. I am one of the team at Edge Hill University. I'm an ex-student of them as well, albeit it was quite a few years ago. But yeah, we're a big campus university, and we are based in the northwest of England. It's in next to a small market town called Ormskirk. So we're a campus university, which means everything's in one place, and we do a variety of different courses. One of those kind of areas is business, which we are going to talk about today, which is going to be really fun. And Faith's going to give you a bit of an experience from her perspective, I suppose, of what it's been like as a student. I'll tell you a little bit about the university itself. The university's got quite a bit of history with it. It's been there for quite a while. And we do, as I said, we do a variety of different subjects. So we have three main faculties. We have the Faculty of Arts and Sciences, which has business in. We have the Faculty of Health and Social Care, and we have the Faculty of Education. So they in-house stuff like teaching degrees as well, but also stuff like professional health courses as well. If you want more information, you are more than welcome to have a look on our website about those courses. As a student now, from experience, being one myself, it's a very nice university, and it's got a very good community feel about it. It's a lovely campus as well. It's very green. You've got all these sporting pitches on there. You've got stuff like a Subway sandwich shop. You've got theatres on there. So it's a very social place as well. But if you do want more information, you are able to pop online and you'll be able to find some more pictures, some videos, and stuff like that.
Brilliant. Great intro. Nice one. So do check out Edge Hill's website where you can have a little view of their campus. But Faith, do you want to give a little introduction to yourself and where you're at now with your studies? I think that'd be a good starting point.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. Hi, everyone. So I'm Faith. I'm currently in between technically my second and third year of study. However, I have changed my 3-year business course into a 4-year course. This is because I'm introducing a industry study placement for a full year. So that will mean I'll go into the workplace, do a full-time job for all that time, get the experience that I want to be able to have for when I go and graduate. I think that it's a great opportunity that Edge Hill offers for students, and I'm just really, really excited about it, to be honest. It's something that I've wanted to do. I've always enjoyed working. So yeah, that's where I'm at currently.
Nice one. Brilliant. Something we were talking about just a little bit earlier, which I'd like to kind of start off with, is a little question on kind of how you got into the subject that you're studying at the moment. And I'm going to start off with a question which we actually ask around our schools across Cumbria. So I'm going to throw it to Josh and Faith as well. And the question, it's just a starting point, is what was your first dream job when you were younger? So what was the very first thing that you dreamt of being when you were younger? I think for me, I wanted to be a pop star. That was the first thing I can remember. So it changed a bit. Josh, do you have anything in mind? What you had?
Yeah. So I originally, when I was younger, I went through kind of everything. I thought I want to be a fireman, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a pilot. And yeah, I think for me, I never kind of really knew what I wanted to do until I kind of studied something and enjoyed it. And for me, I'm an ex-business student myself. So for me, from an early age, I always had a kind of like interest in kind of like how I could make a little bit of extra money or stuff like that. And that was the thing that kind of like really kind of sparked me to kind of go into kind of like business at college, and then go into business at university as well. So I think I never really knew what I wanted to do, but I think as I went along and kind of explored a few different areas, whether that be from kind of like my GCSE options to my college choices and my university choices, I was kind of I based it on kind of experience really, and what I felt comfortable with and what I enjoyed at the time. And for me, I'd always had this kind of thing where I wanted to like buy and sell stuff as well. So it was good. I think that just kind of naturally led me on to go into business as such, as it taught me there's a lot more to business.
Yeah.
Just buying and selling stuff. But yeah, it was good, and it's probably helped sculpt my career as I've gone along. So it's been really good.
Nice one. So there was that little business spark there at the start somewhere. Yeah. Nice. How about you, Faith? What was that like for you?
I wanted to be an astronaut. I was obsessed with space. I was obsessed with NASA, everything. I had like little things on my wall to do with space and the planets and literally everything. And then I kind of grew up a little bit more and realised sort of it's a little bit out of like what I actually wanted to do. It wasn't a focus that I wanted. So as I got to like GCSE and sort of thinking about what I wanted to do in the future, I wanted to be a barrister. And I had these high aspirations. I was watching Law and Order thinking, oh, that wants to be me. I want to do that. And then I got to A-level and I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I just don't want to do that anymore. So then at A-level, I was kind of like, what am I going to do? I didn't know what it was going to be, because I enjoyed doing sport, but I knew I didn't want to do that as my career. I wanted to keep it as, something that I enjoyed, an outlet, things like that. So I kind of sat down with my mum and went through sort of all my strengths and weaknesses and things like that. And that immediately ruled out science, because I just wasn't very good at science. So we were thinking, and then we kind of landed on business and politics. And I've always been one to debate. I've always enjoyed a debate, whether it would be in class, whether we should wear school uniform or not, or something like that. And I finally settled on business just because there was so much sort of breadth to it. It wasn't one specific thing. There was lots of different areas that you can sort of do within business. And then took a massive gamble, took that at university, and I've enjoyed it so much. It's been the best choice I've made. It's worked out really, really well for me. So that's sort of changed what I wanted to do, and in the future as well. And it's made me want to have my own businesses and stuff in the future as well. So, yeah.
Nice. I feel like you had a very logistical approach to choosing what you wanted to do. You made a list of your strengths and weaknesses. Interesting. That's really cool. And so had you studied anything to do with business before in your GCSEs or A-levels? Was it new? Yeah.
At A-level, I've done English literature, psychology, and early modern history. I haven't done business at GCSE either. So again, it was kind of like a gamble almost, but it has worked out in my favour. I'm pleased that I went that way.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, how did you find then, with it being a new subject, how did you find the jump from A-level to university at Edgehill? Like, what was that like for you in terms of lectures and the work?
At first, I was quite panicked, because I was like, what if I can't do it? What if I get there and all these people have all these facts and I know nothing? But it wasn't like that at all. I think because I had been through A-levels, I know the process of doing work, completing assignments, things like that. I have that sort of built in me already. I think it was more me being open to learning a completely new subject, which I kind of enjoyed doing anyway, because I feel like if I was going to do something like psychology again, I think I'd be sat there sort of, well, have I learned this before? Have I done this the right way? And I think I'd question it. So it's completely fresh. And it was hard work, but it was manageable. Like, it wasn't, easy as in you could just do it without trying. I had to put a lot of effort in, but it's, I'm here. I'm still here, so it has worked out. Yeah. So yeah.
And I guess your course mates and everyone is all in that same boat, like maybe starting somewhere new, which is interesting. I guess for the wider university, I don't know if Josh wants to jump in on this, but what's that generally like for your students, your first year students who are starting a new subject? They're maybe sort of catching up to a new way of working. How is that experience usually, and is there any support available from the wider university?
Yeah, I think you know, that especially that jump from high school to college or sixth form is quite a big jump, and there's lots of new things that you'll learn along the way. But again, when you go from that jump of college sixth form into kind of university, you know, there is a difference in the way you study. So independent study becomes a lot more prominent. At a university, you know, a university, it's about kind of motivating yourself as well. I think that's something that a lot of universities do really well. They provide good transition support. So one of the things that I always struggled with was academically writing, so referencing and stuff like that. And when I got to university, there was teams that could support me with that, and you know, it's not something that's going to be an overnight fix, but there's teams that'll work well with you. One thing that I did like about Edgehill is we were all given our own like personal tutor, and they could go through work with you if you were struggling in any areas, obviously because the workload's slightly different in what you would essentially experience in college or sixth form. You know, you might be looking at trying to prioritize a lot of different tasks at the same time, and you might not have encountered it before. So it was really good to have that kind of support system there as went along, as well as stuff like well-being as well. Is that I found that was quite important as well, especially if you maybe kind of weren't feeling that, you know, it wasn't the right thing for you at the time. There was always someone there that you could turn to and talk to as well. So I think that's, from my experience, that's, you know, that was some really good support. And I think students, you know, we see more and more students accessing that support nowadays, which is good. And it's bringing out a much more positive experience of university for them.
Yeah, nice. That's really good to know that, because I guess it's something a lot of our students are thinking about that next step and what that transition is going to be like, really. But yeah, how about you, Faith, in terms of wider university life, even outside of your subject? Were there any other support areas that you had with the university, or any other activities you got up to that you enjoyed?
I feel like, because what was mentioned before about being a campus university, there's always something going on, and whether, you know, you're into sport, arts, whatever, there's something going on. I got involved in the sports. I was a member of the athletics team, and then starting of second year, I joined the hockey team as well. We didn't really get to do that much because of COVID and everything, but what we did do was great. It was a lot of fun. Met loads of new people, and I think that regardless of where you go on campus, there's just sort of a friendly face. It feels a lot like a community. There's loads of societies, and if there's not a society that you want to join, you can, if you've got 4 people or more that want to make one, you can make a new one. There's just so much on offer. During the week, regularly there's like the pub quiz, karaoke, you know, all the sports are on in the Students' Union. There's literally so much to do. We can't fit it all in the week. But I've just felt like it was the right place for me. You know, I'm quite a social person. I enjoy being around other people, doing stuff, getting involved and all that kind of stuff. And that was, you know, available to you at Edgehill. There was just something for you, which was great for me.
Do you think that was one of the deciding factors for you when choosing university? You kind of focused on the fact it was a campus uni, and there was this real community feel. What were the deciding factors when you were actually choosing which university to go to?
Obviously, the course was up there with what was a deciding factor. But then after that, it was somewhere where I knew that I'd be comfortable and be able to get involved and do all that kind of stuff, all the activities and things like that. So I did look at a mixture of city and campus universities when I was deciding, and Edge Hill just stood out. The environment of the campus itself, it's a beautiful campus. It doesn't quite feel like you're there to study. It feels a bit like like a holiday kind of complex almost. So yeah, it was definitely somewhere where I felt like I was a part of a community, stuff to do, the support networks there. It was just, I think in a city, it wasn't for what I wanted out of university. A lot of the city campuses that I looked at, the buildings were, dotted in and around the city. It wasn't all in one place. And again, that was something that was important to me. Having lived on campus, walking out of, your accommodation, 2 minutes to the library, 3 minutes to your lecture theatre, 4 minutes to the sports centre, everything's just there. And in between those walks, you get to see people, you get to meet new people. And that's what I wanted out of university.
Yeah, that's really cool. Had you moved far from home to get to Edge Hill? Was that a
It's about an hour away, so it's far enough away but not a million miles off.
Yeah, that seems like a good balance to have, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice one. I'm quite interested in sort of it feels like there's a real sort of community feel with that campus style university. And I know that's can be such a big deciding factor for a lot of students. I don't know if this is something that Josh wants to pitch in on, but what do you feel is some of the best things a prospective student can do to really get the feel for the uni and decide if it's the right one for them? Yeah.
I think that's a great question, Jess. I think, making that decision and finding that right place for you is going to be completely different for everyone. And I think what a lot of people are guilty of is that they'll make a decision based on what one of the friends are doing or something like that. So I think finding the right university in the right course is about doing that research. Attending stuff like open days. I know it's been a bit of a weird year this year, but there is other things that you can do, stuff like virtual open days and virtual events that universities have been providing, and that's going to help you kind of make sure you're picking the right thing for you. I think one thing for me is kind of experiencing the place and seeing what's on offer academically, but outside of that academic life as well. So obviously Faith talked about some of the stuff that she's done. She's involved in like societies of sports, stuff like that. For me, when I was at university, I was part of our badminton team. It's a great way to meet new people. Obviously the university since I've left is really expanded, so it's a lot bigger now, but there's loads of things that you can do. Like at Edge Hill, we have a big 2.5 kilometer fitness trail around the university. There is, you've got all the sporting courses as well. And like Faith said before about like societies, it's good to find out these extra bits of information. And especially, if universities are providing these virtual events nowadays, it is stuff that students especially can make the most of. And that's going to help you make that informed decision and make that decision on what's right for you. What I would say is don't pick a university based on what your friend's doing, because everyone goes and they're in the same boat. Nobody knows anyone. And the amount of times I've worked on the welcome weekends that we have, and you see students very anxious when they're coming into their accommodation, a bit nervous, and then an hour later when parents and guardians have gone there, they've got a whole bunch of new friends, and everyone's enjoying it and enjoying that kind of atmosphere of that first week as well.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the best things you can do is really experience the place. Yeah, and as you say, with these virtual events that are on now, we can maybe visit places that are further away that you wouldn't have been able to visit earlier, or it would have been a bit difficult to visit all these places. Yeah, so some good tips there. That's really good to have. Now, I'm conscious I'm sort of getting away from the actual subject, so maybe just sort of back onto Faith. I think you were saying you were going into an industry placement at the moment, and you'd also sort of touched upon that your ideas of where you're following your studies or what you'd like to do with them afterwards have adapted as you've gone through your course. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that, about your specific subject?
Yeah, so when I first started business, I didn't know sort of what area of business and stuff like that, because when I got there, I realised it, like Josh said before, that it's more than just buying and selling stuff. There's a lot more involved. But it's helped me doing different modules of the course, and my first and second year, it's helped me learn sort of where my strengths are within the subject, and what I enjoy doing, and what are the subjects that I'm not as good at, and that's helped me sort of take a couple of steps to what I want to do afterwards. So yeah, with the placement, we're offered a sandwich placement year, and the university helped me sort of prepare for applying for that. We had an employability module where we practiced, interviews, getting your CV correct and stuff like that, interview techniques. And then we had a mock assessment day as if it was, a real sort of application for somewhere. So we had that practice in place. Not everyone chooses to do a sandwich year. It's completely up to the student. You don't have to do it. It's just something that's on offer if you want it. So I started looking for a placement in November, and applied to over 30 different companies, whether that was Disney, Warner Brothers. There's loads of stuff on offer. It's not like it's really drawn out needle in a haystack kind of thing. There's lots there. And again, I wasn't completely sure of which area that I wanted to do, so I just applied for any that appealed to me. There was one at Porsche where you got to test drive the cars, so I was definitely applying for that one. I didn't get that one, unfortunately, but that's the different kind of stuff that's on offer for you. So I have been accepted into Randstad's scheme. So they are the top HR recruitment consultancy firm in the world. And I learned in the process of applying that they have offices in different countries across the globe. So that, again, is exciting for me with those sort of prospects and opportunities that might come with it. So I am under the student support team, which means that students who come to university, I will be making sure that they are aware of the help that they can get. But the company are also involved in what happens is that if you see a job on Indeed or something like that, Randstad are kind of like the middlemen between the company who are, offering their job out and selecting the candidate. So we would be involved in making sure that the company get the right people for that role. So I will be moving to Manchester in the next 3 weeks. It's getting closer and closer. So I'm really, really excited about that. I think my mum actually wants to move with me. Like she's more excited than I am. So I'll be working Monday to Friday full time. I'll get my own IT and stuff like that. We're treated sort of not as the intern who just gets to make coffee. We'll be doing the real life job. It's a fully paid placement as well. So it's something that I'm so glad I said yes to the opportunity. I think that coming out of university, it'll help me have that extra edge, because I know that so many people can come out of university with a degree, but what makes you sort of stand out from everybody else, especially with a subject like business, it's very generic for everyone to have a business degree, but what experience do people have that makes you sort of have that extra edge, as I said before. So I'm excited for afterwards, because they've said that if we go and impress, the managers on the placement, then we can end up with a a job after graduation. So fingers crossed that'll be the outcome for me. And then my kind of plan is to sort of progress through that role, get to where I want to be in there, and then hopefully maybe branch off and start my own businesses as well. So yeah.
That sounds, I kind of love how you described the whole process there, how actually when you were applying for these placements, you were just looking at anything that you're interested in, how it's now narrowed down to something, and took you into a sort of new route and a really awesome sounding plan.
Yeah.
How was it in terms of applying because I think you said you had an employability module or something. What was that like? Was there support from the university in finding those different placements and stuff?
Yeah, so we have different lecturers for each module. Specifically to this one, they offered sort of an extra sort of couple of sessions to help students who wanted to actually apply for this sandwich placement and how to go about it and things like that. I think it was a massive wake-up call for me as well, because usually when I've applied for part-time jobs, you can normally just click apply on Indeed and that's it. Like, you know, your application's sent off then. My application for Randstad was of 6 different steps. I think I had initial phone call, followed by a video call, and then an assessment day, which was full of tasks that was really hard, but it was one of those things where you just got to throw yourself into it and get on with it. And then I had another interview with the managers of the teams, and then another call, and then the final call where I was accepted in. So it was quite long in terms of the application, but it was something that woke me up in terms of this is what's required of me now. It's more than just handing your CV into somewhere saying, do you have any vacancies? It's, you know, finding out what you can show off about yourself and put forward. And the university helped us prep for that because they have a career service, which I used and went through my CV because my CV was quite long. I was quite active as a teenager, sort of doing school stuff. I was always doing this, I was always doing that, getting involved with this and that. So I didn't know what to put on it anymore because I didn't know whether it was relevant to what I was applying to. So the career service helped me sort of narrow down my CV, make it sort of concise and things like that. And then helped me sort of prep for the interview, making sure that I had the right sort of language, body language, you know, eye contact, things like that. And obviously it's worked. So I'm so pleased that the support was there from the university. I'm still getting sort of emails off my tutors now, you know, they congratulated me and said that even throughout the placement, I'll still have them as a contact, you know, somewhere to touch base and things like that. So the support is there, and I'm so glad that we did that assessment day as part of the module, because I would have been so unprepared otherwise.
Yeah, that's so relevant, and I feel that's so needed. That because it feels like you've been through so many different kinds of interviews and assessments. Like, you know, you've got a bucket list of all these interviews and assessments. I feel like you've ticked them all off almost. Yeah, and especially, I guess, with things being more virtual as well, quite a few of our students are getting used to the prospect of virtual interviews or phone interviews and things like that. So yeah, it's good to kind of hear of the support that's available. But yeah, I guess thinking if there are any students who are watching this and thinking about and know that they are going to study on business studies or something similar, do you have any top tips to share? Because I think you're saying you kind of started off with a general interest in the subject, maybe seeing where it would lead you. Is there anything that you would tell yourself before you were starting your studies?
I think I'd say just go in with an open mind, because there's so much different information. There might be one module that you really dislike, but then there might be another that you really love. That's all, you know, that's down to you whether you want to, you know, to do one area, to do a different one, and you actually get to choose sort of the different modules that you do within the year. So in second year when we were coming around to choosing our module choices, I knew which ones I didn't want to do from first year, where some were compulsory. And then obviously you get to develop that knowledge in that certain area, and then that can go towards, dissertation prep and then ideas for what you want to do after graduation, what areas you want to work in and things like that. I think as well, to not just, this isn't just specific to business, but to any sort of student who's just coming to university, to just throw yourself into it. Because if you're one of those students that is anxious, which we all were, I was really anxious at the beginning of my first year, but because I've thrown myself in, because I've said yes to so many different things, I've now ended up with so many friends on campus. I've ended up with a placement year. I've ended up sort of loving the subject that I'm in. And I think that all comes from getting involved and just, instead of going, everyone has those worries in the head of what if this, what if that, ignore all of that and just go, I'm glad that I've said yes, rather than, oh, I wish I did this, I wish I did that. And I think that university is what, at the end of the day, yes, you are working towards a degree, but I think in between that, the extracurriculars and everything else, it's what you make of it, because you can sit in your room all day and then moan that you've got no friends, but then it's like, well, have you been to these events? Have you gone outside? Have you got involved? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And I think once you've got over that fight, like the first sort of boundary, the first hurdle, it becomes a whole different sort of pool to explore. Like it's just, there's so much there. But business especially, just going with an open mind, whether you've done it before or not, just enjoy it, because you're doing it for 3 years, you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy the 3 years whilst you're there.
Yeah.
I think that's some brilliant advice about going in with an open mind and saying yes to a lot of opportunities. I guess just like a very specific kind of final question on that is there anything that surprised you, like something that you've done which, because obviously you've gone to university and said yes to a lot of opportunities, what's the opportunity or the thing that you've done that you're most proud of or that you're surprised by?
I think it would have to be my acceptance into the sandwich placement. It was something that I wanted to do. I always knew whatever degree I was going to do at university, I knew that I wanted to do a year out in industry. And I think from knowing the sort of depth of the interview process and the application process, coming out of that with an acceptance, I think I'm so proud of that because of how long and challenging the assessment days were. It was all online, it was all on Teams, and we had to prep all of the CVs that we were given. We had to ask, it was all sort of role play kind of stuff. And we had to ask a manager sort of what they wanted from a personal assistant role. So salary, location, key requirements, stuff like that. We had to write all that information down. And then we had 10 minutes to write a job advert. And then we came back and then we had to present back which candidates that we thought were suitable for the role. All as if we're in role play. So it was like, hi, it's Faith from Randstad calling, just, got these CVs here for you. So it was all in role play, and this was in front of everyone, which was the scariest bit for me. And then the manager would ask us questions and they grilled us, they put us through. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, thanks for that. It was kind of like, well, this is missing. What do you have to say about that? Putting you on the spot and stuff like that. That was tough. That was really, really tough, especially because it was on Teams as well. It was like all virtual. You couldn't sort of read people as much as you could if you were, sat in the room with them. So I think for me, that was the biggest sort of proud moment of my business degree so far.
Wow, definitely something to be hugely proud of. It sounds really exciting what you've got coming up with this. And anyone who's watching this and going into the same thing as yourself, that could be you in 2 years' time, 1 to 2 years' time, who knows where they'll be going with it. Awesome. Brilliant. Well, I mean, Josh, I don't know if you wanted to round off, if there's any students who are maybe watching this thinking about studying at Edge Hill or exploring Edge Hill, where's the best place for them to go?
I think the best thing that you can do if you have any questions, rather than sit on your hands, is ask your careers team. Do your research on UCAS as well. But there's plenty of support that we offer as well at Edge Hill. So you've got our website, edgehill.ac.uk. You'll be able to find out more information on our courses there. You can also email us at study@edgehill.ac.uk as well, should you have any questions about any of the courses that we have. Have a look on social media, stuff like that. So most universities will have social media, stuff like that, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat. I can't remember all of them now, but there's loads out there for you to kind of look at and find out more information. You know, all you've got to do is just ask and you'll be able to get that information.
Brilliant, thanks Josh. And for anyone watching, those links will be in the YouTube description on this video and in the comments below. But thank you for tuning in. Do check out those links and ask any questions, as Josh says. Thank you again to Josh and Faith for coming in to chat with us today. That's been really great. Thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jess.
And everyone watching, we'll see you in the next Spotlight On series. Take care.